Hi, this is Chris and Jakub from Pagepro. Today, Jakub is going to share with you 5 practical examples of using Cursor for Next.js development projects. Jakub, I'm very happy that you're going to share those examples and tips, but maybe you can start with telling us when did you start using Cursor?
Hi everyone. So I started using Cursor a little bit over 6 months ago. Something like that in September, I believe. And at first, it doesn't give me the best feeling of the tool because of my prompt usage. I was using it incorrectly. I mean, I thought that I'm pretty good at prompting, but with time I've learned better techniques of prompting, and now I'm a lot of more satisfied with my results that I'm receiving. So I would say that it's a little bit over 6 months now.
Okay. And why did you start using it?
From multiple reasons. One of them was curiosity. I've heard a lot about Cursor and I've wanted to try it out. Second one is to boost my performance, boost my velocity of delivery process. And the third one was to keep being competitive at the market, because I believe that a lot of developers is using AI tools right now. So to be at the same level, I also need to learn those tools.
Yes. A lot is changing right now in software development environment. I don't know how those tools are going to work in next 5 years, but I'm sure they won't be worse than they're right now. I think they're pretty good right now, and then they can be just better. And we have a bunch of tools, but today we're going to focus on Cursor. And why on Cursor? Because I think Cursor is perfect tool for bigger projects. So V0 or Bolt are great for starting new projects. And I think Cursor is something like a more iterative approach to development, when you can, maintain old projects, bigger projects, and projects that you're working as a team, not just vibe coding your small startup, but building production ready project. And Cursor also is the quickest growing software right now on the market. I don't know if you know, but they grew their annual recurring revenue from 1 million to 100 million in 12 months. So it's super fast, super quick, and it's much quicker than OpenAI. So there needs to be some value behind that, and I'm sure you're going to share some tips with us. So maybe you can start with listing the tips or lessons that you are going to share with us today.
Okay, so I will show you like 4 or 5 examples of how you can utilize the Cursor in your projects. I will mention about the project rules. I will talk about automation of migration process, also the refactoring, creating a new functionality based on your current functionality, some scanning of your applications, and I also will mention some other use cases, but without the visual aspect. So I will just mention about other things that you can use.
Great. Sounds very interesting. So let's start the first one.
So I will start from the Cursor rules. It's something that you can add to your project. They are just like a directory with a bunch of rules that your project, your prompts will follow when you ask for it. So in this example, I show you the rules for like Next.js API route generation, Next.js overall, Tailwind, and some TypeScript. But you can put all of your like libraries you use, all of the specific parts of your application that you want to have rules for. For example, in my scenario, I have API routes, and I just specify how I want these my prompts to generate the code. So I always want to provide the try-catch clause. So I have the bulletproof application. I want to use dictionary for messages so I can easily translate them, adding cache, to define input schemas using Zot, etc. So you can, like, during your development, you just need to adjust those rules based on your requirements. And keep building them as a team. So if you if you notice that something is generating incorrect responses, try to add the extra rule in this file, one of those files, and try again to see if it will improve the results of your answers. One important thing is that you need to select the rule type, which means that when they should be taken as a part of your prompt. In this scenario, it's always you can use auto-attached agent request or manual. It means that if you want to, you can add a specific file that you want to add manually to only specific prompts, or you can also specify that as always and just not as always, but as auto-attached, and specify the file pattern for them so they will be always attached to specific files. It's very helpful, and yeah, it's a thing that's probably will trend right now. And if your team will create like great rules, probably you can share them with others and have some benefits in like brand recognition, for example. And the most important, it's shared with your teammates, so all of you can work on those rules. So yeah, that's the first tip, and probably the most important, because if you will specify those rules correctly, all of your future requests will bring you better results. The next tip is I mentioned about the migration. So I've already migrated my
I could add something to the first one. And this is something you already told us at the beginning. So you told us that your first attempts with Cursor weren't very productive. And I think if you as a team, you're maintaining your set of rules, the output of Cursor for every member of your team will be better. So you can set your rules, and by that automatically all the prompting or the results of prompting will be better. So I think this is very important, especially for teams, because some people are just starting using AI. Some people have been early adopters and they are already familiar. And you want to have the best knowledge in the project and to make it frictionless thanks to this knowledge sharing and documentation sharing. Yeah. So what is the second lesson?
The second lesson is to utilize the chat to generate some things for you. I mentioned about the migration automation. Automation is maybe a little bit overkill for this word, but what I mean is, like, if you are working on Next.js, probably you have some API routes, and for example, you may have a connection with a database. And if you are doing some changes with a database, you need to create a migration so they will update the schema, the tables to be consistent and up to date. So to generate them, it's a very easy to, like, if you already have few of the migrations done, like in my scenario, I have some like 5 migrations done before. And now based on those migrations, because I add them as a context to my prompt, and then I ask to generate a new migration number 6, and I've described what I want to receive. I mentioned that I've updated I want to update all page type documents because I've added a new field. It can be empty, it's published date, and I want to fulfill it with some specific date as specific format. And the output, it generates me the correct migration. It's not like it will always generate the great migration for you, but it can create a boilerplate or very close to the perfect one, but still you will be able to utilize that and just, for example, update only a single line of the code to have the result that satisfies you. So in my scenario, it generates the code. It also tells me what this code is doing, and it mentions that this migration follows the same pattern as the previous migration. It's very important because I've added those directory as a context. So yeah, that's one of the examples. The next one, unless you, Chris, have any questions in the meantime.
I think this is a really good example of adding context, and I think because here you're showing for the first time some prompts, and I think what is important for bigger projects, and maybe especially when you're close to data and migration, that is good to have very detailed prompt and very authoritarian prompt. So maybe when you're handling data, you need to precisely tell what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. In your example, I understand it's using your past migrations as well. So it's considering your prompt, your instructions, and the past. So if you're writing good prompts, you will get better results on each iteration. But if you're writing weak prompts, you can end with very heavily migrations.
Yeah, exactly. But as you pointed out, I've added the previous migrations as a pattern. So it follows all of the things that were in the previous files. So I didn't have to specify which database I'm using, what kind of queries he needs to do. I didn't mention that it should be a transaction, etc. It figures it out with the previous migrations. It also automatically at try catch, etc. updates the number of the migration. So yeah, the context is a great tool here. So the next example.
Yeah. So what is the third example?
The next one is about the refactoring. So in my scenario, the sign up route. So I've tried to not try, but I'm modifying this route. This route is the register route, and I want to remove some fields from this request because they are no longer available in the backend. So I want to remove them from it, both like API route and the UI. So I've asked to modify this route. I've also added the full web context directory. So it's all of my Next.js application. So we can scan the code base and find all places where I'm using this specific API route. And I ask to remove those fields from API call and from UI too. Also, it's not the greatest prompt because it's very simple, but in this scenario, it worked out. So it finds all of the places where this specific route is used and those fields were used based on the imports and specifically on the imports probably, because for the API routes it's pretty simple. So it removes the types, it removes it from a utility method that creates a user, and then it goes to sign up form. It removes the field from the hook, it removes the field from the component itself. So yeah, it's done automatically, almost automatically. It also summarizes what he's done. I can verify that. And if I'm satisfied with my results, then I can approve the changes, or I can ask for further instructions. So it's a pretty good example of how you can refactor. And again, the key is the context. So I've added the context of the full directory and also specified the route.
Okay. So without cursor, you would have to find every file in the project where you have this field, and then you need to update several files. And thanks to cursor, yeah, it's like automating your pretty easy job in this scenario, I guess.
Yeah.
So just finding where it occurs and updating the functions.
Yeah, but probably it's the best used with a pair of someone who was doing that, because I'm sure that those places are okay, and I'm sure that those places are the places that needs to be updated. I just don't need to manually find them because I forget the paths, because I was working on this project like a month ago. So yeah, it's like
I'm curious if in your project instructions or cursor rules you can add something like before you update any request to for registration, double check something or notify me that you cannot change it without changing some, I don't know, external provider settings to bulletproof your updates. Because, for example, you might be aware what is on the other side, on the backend or on the third-party service, but maybe it's not reflected on the code. And, yeah, I guess you might use cursor rules for maybe not changing how it works, but maybe it can tell you this is a red flag or yellow flag to check.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible to add that to those rules, and yeah, probably it will bring the good results too. So yeah.
Great. So what is the next one?
The next one is to like the scenario when I have the I've got let's say a bug that was throwing the 500 error on my Next.js application, and I don't want to walk through all of my API routes to check if they have the correct error handling. So I just ask the cursor to scan all API handlers for potential unhandled errors and check if they all contain correct messages. So it will, and I've specified the API directory as a context. So it will just do the thing that I could do manually, but much faster. As you can see, the results are pretty complex. That he pointed out what specific criteria and if they are matched or not, and he listed all of my routes on the list. As you can see, I have few that fails, and he generates me the fixes in the below where I can just approve them or decline them. So yeah, it's also a good use case. I want to talk only about one more where you create a new functionality, for example. So in this prompt, I asked for a new API route to unsubscribe the newsletter from the newsletter, because I have the functionality to subscribe, but I don't have the functionality to unsubscribe. I also add the API folder as a context and ask him to check current API routes to create code with similar syntax and flow. So he will follow the pattern from those files and generate me a new API route. I also ask for specific criteria. So I want something on, I mean, I listed all of the actions that needs to be done within my endpoint, and he is creating all of the code that is required. And actually it's pretty solid in my scenario. It handled all of the scenarios. It sends multiple emails. It has the correct error handling. It's using the toast messages where, not the toast messages, sorry, the toast is like field in my dictionary. So it's using the dictionary to eliminate the static text. So it's following the good patterns that we are using within our projects. So I believe that will be all of the examples from the code. But yeah, they are not the only examples that you can use where you can use the AI. There's plenty of them. The smaller ones that I'm using like almost every hour or every day are the types generation. So if I create some functionality, I don't need to think about the typing. I just ask for typing when I'm done, and it speeds up my development time. Also for the translations or modifications, very simple modifications to generate the Tailwind styles for me. So if I for example, want to modify some component to display a little bit different, or to create a new component based on something. But yeah, mostly for the styles from the styles perspective, it's also a great place to resolve the errors from the console. So last time I have some issues with the dependencies. I have two libraries that were using the same library with different versions of React, and they were throwing me an error. So I asked for a solution, and it figures it out and helped me. It gives me almost the same responses that I found on the Stack Overflow or other places. So it's just simplifies the process because you don't need to switch the your own context from the cursor to browser, then go back, etc. You have everything in one place. Yeah, and general use it as a chat to you, so you can also ask for help, and you can do a lot of stuff with that you can do on the browser, ChatGPT or Cloud AI from your IDE. So yeah, there's probably a lot of other use cases. I just mentioned the simplest one that I'm using every day. And yeah, the most important thing to remember is to use correct context because it changed the outputs a lot. Use the cursor rules, and don't be afraid to like stop prompting and use manual work from specific moments. So what I like to do is generate the boilerplate or generate the overall idea of the functionality and then just manually update the things that I don't like. I don't want to like keep asking the tool to generate me the perfect output, because that will probably take me more time than just doing it manually.
So we know how to use cursor, but maybe you can tell us, do you see any examples, project types that you're not recommending using cursor?
No, not really. Probably only the companies that have very strict rules about AI. Maybe they will just not allow you to do it. But in general, I don't think so. I mean, it's always worth to do it with AI because it just speeds up your process. Unless it's very complex and very unique issue that you're working on, probably you will just keep asking for help, but he may not be a good person, good thing to ask for. It's maybe like algorithmic issues or something like that, where you need to find a solution for a specific problem.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Jakub, very much. So today, Jakub shared 5 specific examples with screen sharing and around 5 others examples of using cursor. If you'd like to get more about using cursor or specific examples that Jakub shared, please let us know in the comments. We're also planning to prepare more content about AI-assisted development because we see this as a very important trend in software development. So if you have any ideas of materials that you would like to have, please let us know. And thanks again, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you.